You are listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News.
A reply to Austria accepting the first two demands of the ultimatum issued on the 23rd of July. Austria had issued an ultimatum demanding a response within 48 hours. The ultimatum followed the assassination of the heir to the Austrian throne, Archduke Francis Ferdinand, by a 19-year-old Serbian student, Gavrilo Princip. Ferdinand was shot dead at a point-blank range on the 28th of June 1914 in an incident that became known as the Sarajevo assassination. The incident sparked the First World War.
And also in trivia today, German Zeppelins begin to bomb Antwerp and Belgium, and 10 have died. German troops marched into France and pushed French armies to the Sudan. German troops who had already occupied Belgium begin the 6-week sack of Louvain, destroying historical buildings and killing hundreds of civilians. Now, tell it. We're talking about ultimatums. Do you think these are good ideas when it comes to dealing with political issues or anything in life, really?
I don't think it is a good idea to be given an ultimatum, but I think when this is introduced or said, there could have been mixed feelings. You'll be torn about something and you're trying to, but it's always good to have somebody who is neutral to help you go ahead.
That's right. And sometimes, ultimatums can give the results that you need, but sometimes they're not very good. We'll now take a look at Ellie News.
In our first story this morning, a report from the government of Zimbabwe in conjunction with the University of Zimbabwe Histopathology Department has revealed that unvaccinated people constitute majority of COVID-19 deaths and infections in Harare.
We are in the middle of the third wave right now. This third wave, we have made sure we intensify our vaccination program because that's the silver bullet for against this disease. In your community, if the whole community, if your locality is not vaccinated, you are in danger. Only need one person to visit you with COVID and the whole community is finished. So as you rightfully said, it's our job to make sure we stay alive. It's the right of every Zimbabwean not to be infected.
Let's not procrastinate. Let's not listen to the anti-vaxxers. Let's not listen to those people that don't believe in vaccination, because this is the biggest and also the most proven method to fight this pandemic. If we vaccinate, we are not only protecting ourselves against severe disease, we are protecting ourselves against dying, also protecting our neighbors, we are protecting our friends, our loved ones, and also our close relatives.
Government has been applauded for the significant strides it has made in capacitating local authorities through the devolution program. Let's get more details.
With most urban councils struggling to offer quality service delivery to residents due to factors that include poor budget performances, Chiredzi Town Council has indicated that the devolution funds have brought some impetus to local authority level planning and implementation of developmental programs.
These devolution funds have actually come in handy. We are now able to do some capital projects which we are now failing to do due to poor budget performance. You find that on average collection rate is only about 40%. So with that you can't do any project. But we're also striving to try and improve revenue collection through stakeholder engagement.
Chiredzi Town Chairperson Mr. Gibson Wende underscored that through the implementation of intergovernmental fiscal transfers, the Council has been able to address infrastructure development deficits in record time.
We intend to upgrade our waterworks. Currently we are pumping at 10 megaliters, so we need, due to the population increase, we need to increase the pumping capacity from 10 to 15 megaliters. We thank the government very much because, as you can see, right now our budgets are not performing very well. So we are relying much on the provision of funds from the government.
Meanwhile, Chirezi Town Council was allocated 66 million Zimbabwe dollars by government under the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program, with the local leadership touring some of the road rehabilitation works currently underway in the town this Thursday.
Works that we are doing in utilizing that funds include culvert construction, drainage, resealing of roads, upgrading dirty roads into gravel roads, as well as pothole patching. All these are being done with thrust to mitigate flooding. As you know, Chirezi is in the Region 5. We had little experience, heavy rains, but for the last 2 years, we have been receiving above normal rainfall. And this has been affecting our residents. It has also been affecting our roads.
Following a public outcry on the state of roads that were damaged by the heavy rains which were received across the country, government set aside 33.6 billion Zimbabwe dollars for the second phase of the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program. Gaima Tambo, ZBC News, Chirezi.
Massive strides are being recorded in rehabilitating the country's road under the second phase of the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program, resulting in major facelifts for most roads in high-density suburbs. Theophilus Luma gives us that report.
5 months after the launch of the second phase of the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program, the country's road network is regaining its glamour after decades of being battered and left to deteriorate under the watch of city fathers. Works are already at full throttle, with notable progress having been recorded across the country under the second phase of the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program, an initiative aimed at repairing 10,000 kilometers of roads countrywide. The initiative has been applauded by motorists in Harare who had endured years of having to navigate through potholes on a daily basis.
Good thing, because it reduces road accidents, and our roads were really bad. The potholes were just something else.
This is fantastic work being done by the government. We do appreciate the works that is being held on this road, because this road was really bad and the thieves were hiding behind this. Government is doing a very, 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 very proper works, and we appreciate the work.
Inobatsira nzira dzedu dzigadzirwe nokuti dzakagadzirwa zvinotiita kuti macost ekurepair motokari dzedu anodzikirawo zvakare.
Government is confident it will be able to cover much ground to repair roads this year, as it targets to restore the country's road network under a budgeted 34 billion Zimbabwe dollar package. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
Huge volumes of tobacco worth about 700,000 United States dollars suspected to have been smuggled from Zimbabwe have been recovered in South Africa. This comes on after allegations were raised by the Parliament that the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, TIMB, is protecting tobacco cartels.
The news of the smuggling of the Zimbabwean produced tobacco to South Africa was first reported by a South African publication, News 24, this Friday, which said South African police found the unprocessed leaf worth 10 million rand in Eastern Cape. The publication reports that the tobacco is suspected to have come through Beitbridge border post from Zimbabwe, and that Eastern London police made the bust in collaboration with customs officers. A 31-year-old male suspect has since been arrested for possession of the unprocessed tobacco and bribery. However, Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board TIMB Chief Executive Mr. Mino Gudu recently refuted the smuggling allegations.
There's not even a single company that can export a full tobacco leaf. It's a deliberate government policy. I'm 100% sure, because I'm the one who signs the export permits.
The Justice Mayor Wajijina-led Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Resettlement was adamant that smuggling is happening and blamed the TIMB for allegedly protecting tobacco cartels.
Of the smuggling rackets happening in the tobacco industry. So you are saying you don't know Zimbabwean companies which are now in South Africa? It's TIMB. You've never heard?
It might be an investor. I'm not so sure what you're talking about, Mr. Chairman.
That kg with the spine is costing here $2.50. When it's removed, that spine in South Africa, it goes for $10. So you are turning a blind eye as a regulator in the tobacco industry. That's why I'm saying you are presiding over a bunch of cartels.
According to the News 24 report, 1,279 boxes of both raw and cartridge tobacco were discovered in a warehouse in the Eastern Cape. 10 Time Munengwa, ZBC News, Harare.
In a rather shocking story, daring thieves in Hwange are raiding built-up graves and extracting bricks, which residents suspect are being sold to people who are carrying out building projects.
There are shocking events happening at number 2 cemetery in the mining town of Hwange. Graves are being stripped off and many tombstones are left lying down in a scenario residents say they have never heard of or witnessed.
Zumutirwa jakasa kuti vana vatinozwara nokuti unokoga angeje eja kota chitika chakadai beja kobabura zutina zovakaviga zovakavakisa makumbu edu.
Elders have even pronounced curses upon those who are doing such acts, which they describe as highly immoral.
Uzakana problem za kushupa so tukupemba vamene ogura ma bricks make sure takagura ma bricks gurani ma bricks kuvantu vamene vazivikana mushe vantu vana makambani zashuwa
uba wamene vari kuenderera nako vazalimala nako at the end of the day vazaending vari kuenda kalungisa nyumba imene ili haunted.
Among the desecrated graves is the final resting place for a famous traditional healer in Hwange, where some bricks were removed but left by the side. While the cemetery falls under Hwange Colliery Company Limited Estates Department, seeking a comment from the company did not yield results after demands for the ZBC News to email questions which are yet to be answered. Meanwhile, the people in the affected community are convinced that whoever is carrying out such acts will definitely meet the wrath of the unseen forces. Shomoli Ngube, ZBC News, Hwange.
It is indeed sad that we do have people in our society who are committing such terrible crimes. Whatever happened to respecting the dead? Now, still in early news, the First Lady Amai Auxilia Mnangagwa has moved a gear up in her engagements with the country's citizens as she takes an inclusive approach in finding solutions to social challenges affecting the populations. Let's get more details.
This becomes the first time in living memory that a First Lady goes in extra mile in finding solutions to challenges affecting the people by partaking in a radio talk show program. The program comes after the First Lady's office was inundated with calls from people seeking advice following testimonies by those who had been helped by Amai Mnangagwa through her inheritance engagement programs. However, COVID-19 induced restrictions have seen the mother of the nation minimizing face-to-face interactions and launching a radio program at ZBC Radio Zimbabwe this Saturday with the aim of ensuring that people continue to get information they need concerning inheritance issues. During the educative interactive program, the First Lady said she conceived the program after seeing that a lot of people are in need of guidance, with radio's wide coverage being a plus in terms of accessibility.
Iko zvino zvichemo zviri kuuya zvakafanana zvakare nezvakatanga 2018 kuratidza kuti ndoraramo ndomatiri kugara mumatambudziko iwaya enyaya dzekugoveranwa kwenhaka. Saka chaita kuti ndiuye pano ndechekuti nguva ino yeCovid hatichitauriranai tinzwisisane nokuti zvatambotaura zvechirwere chiyaka hatichagona kuungana, asi vari kuteerera nhasi ipapa pachabatsira vakawanda.
Amai Mnangagwa, however, bemoaned how the majority of people continue losing what they had worked for due to the lack of information about inheritance and wills writing. The program had 3 panelists who are all experts in inheritance and wills writing issues, led by the Master of High Court of Zimbabwe, Mr. Eldad Mtasa, Ms. Pauline Mandingo, and Mr. Charles Manhiri, who all rallied behind Amai Mnangagwa's initiative, while also helping to iron out some issues raised during the interactive program.
Zivo yevanhu yakanyanya kuderera pamaringe nekuziva mutemo wemagoverwo enhaka munyika yedu yeZimbabwe. Nekuda kweurongwa Excellence the First Lady Amai, ndinoona kuti zvambobatsira.
Wiri inogona kunyorwa newewo zvako naniwo zvake as long as uri ne16 years and above. Wiri inogona kunyorwa mururimi rweshona, rwechirungu, rwendevere, mururimi rwaunorarama narwo.
Mutemo unoshandurwa kushandiswa kwawo nedonzo rawanga wakaisirwa
kana rusinganyatsi kufamba zvakanaka rusingabatsiri vanhu.
The inaugural talk show dubbed Naurano Namai was aired on Radio Zimbabwe and hosted by top radio presenters Patricia Jacob and Lionel Mkandla. This Saturday's inaugural program is a continuation of the First Lady's journey, which she started in 2018, where she engaged in a countrywide tour to vigorously raise awareness and educate people on inheritance laws and wills writing issues. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
That story concludes Early News. Now, just a reminder for you to follow us on our social media platforms. We are on Twitter, and you can also find us live right now on Facebook on our ZBC News online platform. And also joining us on Facebook right now is Alexio Zimano, Tendai Zengeni, Farisai Makamure, Boiti Anna, Brilliant Shana, and then Taurai Samu. These are some of the people who are actually online right now and watching the bulletin. We take a look at press review.
Today we start with the Sunday Mail. COVID-19 stalks the unvaccinated. Almost 90% of people who succumbed to the coronavirus in the past few weeks were unvaccinated, underlining the importance of the ongoing mass vaccination exercise. According to a new report from health officials, the unvaccinated make up 90% of hospitals' admissions. The government has ramped up its vaccination campaign, which will be boosted by the arrival of an additional 1 million Sinovac doses and 3 million syringes from China today. You know, Amanda, it is good to get vaccinated. We should encourage each other out there to get vaccinated, because if you are not vaccinated, chances of you being affected by the pandemic is too much.
That is very true. And you find that most cases that we're finding right now in the hospitals are people who have not been vaccinated. So we do encourage vaccination for everyone. Now, still in press review, an estimated US $7 billion worth of assets were illicitly siphoned out of the country through corruption and money laundering. And the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, ZARC, is now racketeering up measures to recover all the ill-gotten goods. ZARC has activated links with several international agencies to recover the loot, some of which is salted away in offshore bank accounts and trust funds. Some of the externalized cash has been used to buy luxury properties and other assets.
Still talking about health, doctors and nurses working in public health institutions will no longer be allowed to go on strike for an uninterrupted period spanning more than 3 days under proposed changes to the Health Services Act. Amendments to the Act, which were gazetted on Friday, once passed, will require healthcare providers to give 2 days' notice in writing before embarking on a collective job action. In addition, all medical professionals will be required by law to provide care to patients in a medical emergency or needing critical or intensive care during a legal collective job action.
Now, in the Sunday Mail sports section, Willard Kansande walked out of a tunnel to make a history at Muhammad V Stadium in Casablanca, Morocco last weekend. Some villagers in the Makochera area of Mutoko were crammed in a small tuck shop to catch a piece of the football action from a small screen. The 35-year-old Katsande made his 326th appearance for the Kaizer Chiefs with Amakosi when it lost 3-0 to the Egyptians Al Lahle in the CAF in Champions League last Saturday. It is a milestone achievement for Katsande, who now holds the record of being the Kaizer's foreign player with the most appearances for Kaizer Chiefs.
And then in sports, Seble's not letting up. Tinashe Kusema, the deputy sports editor. The good news is that Zimbabwe managed to come out of their Rugby Africa Cup Pool D fixtures with Burkina Faso last week largely unscathed and can now look to the knockout stages of the 2023 World Cup qualifiers next year. Granted their safe passage as Pool D winners was all but guaranteed the minute COVID-19 forced Tunisia out, but the Sebles needed to make a statement going into the next stage.
In our Kwayedza Weekly, Mambo Kaseke vaStanley Chimanikire vekudunhu repaShonaland East vanoti munhu wose ari panyatwa yekubata chirwere cheCovid-19. Nekudaro zvakakosha kuti veruzhinji vatevedzere matanho akatarwa ekudzivirira kudenda iri. Vanoti kune vamwe vane pfungwa dzekuti chirwere ichi chinobata vari kumadhorobha chete, asi vekumaruwa vanogona kubatwa nayo zvakare.
Well, that's all we had for you on our press review today. It's true.